Hey everyone, and welcome back. We're doing a deep dive today all about trade shows.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah, so specifically,
Yeah,
how to really make them work
right.
for a millennial audience.
Millennials.
Yeah, and we found this super interesting article on Medium.
Okay.
It's called The Millennial Magnet.
Catchy.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And I thought it would be perfect for a deep dive because, well, honestly,
Yeah.
those old school trade show tactics,
Yeah,
they just don't really work anymore,
they really don't.
especially for this generation.
Millennials have changed the game, haven't they?
Totally. And the article even mentioned
Yeah.
how their economic situation plays a role, like a full 37%
Oh, wow.
of millennials have moved back in with their parents because of finances.
Yeah, that's a tough reality, isn't it? It really highlights how important it is for brands to really showcase value right away.
You can't just be flashy.
Yeah.
You really got to prove,
You gotta prove it.
yeah, that you're worth their time and their money.
Exactly. Like, what's the ROI? And speaking of catching their eye,
Yeah.
the article talks about this thing called visual hierarchy.
Okay, so break that down for me.
So basically, it's about using size, color,
Okay.
and typography to lead the viewer's eye.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, you're basically directing their attention to what matters most in your booth.
It's like you're cutting through the noise of the trade show floor.
Exactly, because it can be so visually overwhelming.
Oh, totally. So you've got their attention with the visuals,
Right.
but how do you keep them engaged?
Well, that's where interactivity comes in.
Oh, okay, I like where this is going.
Right. So the article mentions things like touchscreens,
Okay.
VR, even gamification.
Ooh, fun.
It's about making the experience hands-on.
So they're not just watching.
Right.
They're actually participating.
Exactly. Millennials want to do things, not just see things.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But I do wonder about all this tech.
Yeah.
Is there a risk of going overboard with it?
Yeah.
Like, could it become too gimmicky?
I think it's all about balance. The technology should add to the experience,
Right.
not distract from it.
Gotcha. So it needs to be purposeful.
Exactly. And it should align with your brand and message.
And speaking of aligning with your brand,
Yeah.
the article talks about color psychology.
Oh, yeah. Color is so powerful.
Right. It can really set the mood.
Absolutely. And evoke certain emotions.
I never thought about it in a trade show context.
Well, think about it. If you're showcasing a sustainable product,
Okay.
using green can really reinforce that message.
Okay, yeah, I get it. It's like subconsciously connecting with people.
Right. It's all about creating those subtle associations.
So we've got the visuals, we've got the interactivity.
Yeah.
What about the overall story?
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
The narrative that's crucial for millennials.
Okay, so tell me more about that.
Well, they're drawn to brands that have a story to tell.
So it's not just about selling a product.
Right. It's about purpose.
They want to know what you stand for.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense.
Now, the article also mentioned Instagrammable moments.
Isn't that a little shallow, though?
Well, I think it's more than just a photo op.
Okay.
It's about giving them something shareable, something that reflects their values and aesthetics.
Okay, so it's about extending the reach.
Exactly. Taking it beyond the trade show floor.
So you're thinking about those unique design elements.
Or interactive installations.
Things that encourage them to capture the experience.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've covered the booth itself.
Right.
But how do you engage them once they're actually at the trade show?
Well, one strategy the article suggests is focusing on educational demos
Okay.
instead of traditional contests or giveaways.
Interesting.
Millennials, they're hungry for knowledge.
So give them something of real value.
Exactly, something they can learn from.
I like that approach.
It shows you're not just trying to lure them in with free stuff.
Right. It's about adding real value.
And another interesting tactic is using touch screens for product demos.
It's like bringing that online experience offline.
Exactly. It allows them to explore the product on their own terms.
And we all know how tech savvy they are.
Right. It plays right into that.
Okay, so what else?
Well, location is key, of course.
Location.
Right. You want to be where the millennials are.
High traffic areas.
Exactly. Maximize that visibility.
And of course, we can't forget about social media.
Oh, absolutely.
It's essential for reaching this generation.
The article emphasizes promoting the event beforehand, using it during the event to drive traffic to your booth, and continuing the engagement afterwards.
It's all about creating that buzz.
Exactly, and keeping the conversation going.
But is there a danger of being too salesy on social media?
It's definitely a fine line you want to promote your brand.
Right.
But without being overly promotional.
So how do you strike that balance?
Focus on content that provides value.
Okay.
Whether it's behind-the-scenes peeks, sneak peeks of new products, or even insights related to your industry.
So give them a reason to follow you beyond just trying to make a sale.
Exactly. You want to build that relationship.
Okay. So much to think about.
I know, right?
This Millennial Magnet article is packed with insights.
It really is.
Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll dive into some current trends in booth design that are really working for this generation.
Sounds good. I'm ready.
Okay, so we're back.
Back at it.
And ready to talk about booth design.
Yeah, let's get into the design trends.
Yeah. The article highlighted some really interesting ones that are happening right now.
It did, for sure. One that stood out to me was the focus on sustainability.
Oh, yeah. Millennials really care about that.
It's not just a trend for them, it's a core value.
Right. They want to see companies walking the walk, not just talking the talk.
Exactly. So using things like recyclable materials, energy-efficient technology, even solar panels.
It all makes a statement.
It really does. It shows you're aligned with their values.
And it's not just about the materials.
Right.
The article also talked about tailoring the entire booth design.
Yeah.
To specific millennial audiences.
With micro-targeting almost.
Yeah, because they're such a diverse generation.
Right. You can't just have a one-size-fits-all approach.
You really got to understand their motivations.
Their interests, what makes them tick.
And then design experiences that resonate with those specific groups.
Precisely. It's all about personalization.
But with all this talk about data and strategy, we can't forget about aesthetics.
Oh, absolutely. Aesthetics are still super important.
Especially for a generation that grew up with Instagram.
Right, they've got a keen eye for design.
So how do you create a booth that's both visually appealing and on brand?
Well, the article emphasizes that the overall look and feel needs to be high quality, cohesive, and really reflect the brand's personality.
So it's about telling a visual story.
Exactly, and making sure it resonates with millennials.
I do wonder, though, is there a risk of trying too hard to be trendy?
Yeah, like losing your authenticity in the process.
Exactly.
That's a valid concern. I think it's about finding that sweet spot.
Okay.
Where your brand's values intersect with millennial interests.
So don't just jump on every trend.
Right. Find those authentic touch points.
Yeah, that genuinely connect with both your brand and your target audience.
Exactly, because millennials can spot inauthenticity a mile away.
They're smart cookies.
They really are so focused on building genuine connections.
Not just trying to make a quick sale.
Exactly. It's about the long game.
Now, the article had some really great examples.
Oh, yeah, it did.
Of companies that are doing this well. So tell me about those.
Well, one that I loved was a company that created this interactive installation. Where attendees could learn about the company's history and their values through touch screens and augmented reality.
That's so cool.
It was super engaging and totally aligned with their brand story.
It's like a millennial-friendly museum exhibit.
I know, right?
What else?
Another great example was a company showcasing sustainable products.
Okay.
They built their entire booth out of recycled materials.
Oh, wow.
And incorporated live plants and greenery.
It sounds beautiful.
It created this really immersive experience.
So they're really living their values.
Exactly. They're not just talking about sustainability, they're showing it.
Okay. Any other examples that stand out?
Yeah, there was one company that went for a more playful approach.
Okay, tell me more.
They set up this giant interactive game.
Fun.
Yeah, it was a big hit with the millennial crowd.
It's proof that you can be educational and entertaining.
Exactly. You can do both.
These examples are really inspiring.
They are. It's clear that companies are getting creative.
And using technology in a really strategic way.
Yeah, it's not just about the bells and whistles.
That's about the thought behind it.
Right. It's about creating an experience.
So where do we go from here?
Well, the article talks about the trade show experience as one touch point in a larger brand journey.
So it's not just about making a sale on the spot.
Right. It's about building relationships.
And creating that lasting impression.
Exactly. It's about the long game.
So how can companies continue the conversation after the event?
Well, that's where social media comes in.
Yeah, it's all about nurturing those connections.
It's like planting seeds at the trade show.
And then continuing to water them.
I love that analogy.
Me too.
Okay.
So much good stuff here.
I know so much to think about.
Let's take a moment to digest.
Okay.
And when we come back, I want to talk about some potential pitfalls.
Okay.
When trying to reach millennials, because there's definitely a fine line between attracting them and alienating them.
For sure.
All right, so we're back and thinking about all the ways brands are trying to connect with these millennials at trade shows. But, I'm also wondering, are there mistakes companies make?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think one big one is relying too heavily on stereotypes.
Okay. Yeah, because they're not all the same.
Exactly. Millennials are a diverse group with a wide range of interests and values. So what works for one segment might totally flop with another.
So avoid making assumptions and really dig into the data.
Yeah, understand your specific target audience.
Okay, what else? What other pitfalls are out there?
Well, I think another mistake is trying too hard to be cool or hip, you know?
Like trying to force it?
Exactly. Millennials can spot inauthenticity a mile away.
So just be yourself.
It might sound cliche, but it's true, especially for this generation. They want authenticity.
They want the real deal.
But they want brands that are genuine.
Okay, so how do you strike that balance? Like staying true to your brand, but also appealing to a millennial audience.
I think it's about finding that common ground between your brand's mission and the values that resonate with millennials.
So give me an example.
Okay, let's say your brand is all about social responsibility.
Okay.
Highlight the ways you're giving back to the community.
Yeah.
Or promoting ethical practices.
Okay, so find those authentic touch points.
Exactly.
That really resonate.
Right.
And don't force a connection.
Definitely, because millennials are savvy consumers.
They do their research.
Oh yeah, they can see right through marketing gimmicks.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about social media. Any advice for companies looking to use it effectively at trade shows?
Social media is a powerful tool.
Yeah.
But it's not just about posting random stuff.
Right, you need a strategy.
Exactly, you need a plan that aligns with your trade show goals.
So think big picture.
Right.
How can you leverage social media before, during, and after the event?
Exactly. So before the event, you want to build excitement.
Oh,
tease what you'll be showcasing.
Yeah, give them a sneak peek.
Maybe even host a contest.
Okay, fun.
During the event, encourage attendees to share their experiences.
Okay.
Use a unique hashtag.
Oh, I like that.
It's a great way to track the conversation.
Yeah, and see what people are saying.
And don't forget to engage with them.
Respond to comments, answer questions.
Show them you're listening.
So it's about building that relationship.
Yeah, and after the event, keep the conversation going.
Okay.
Share highlights. Thank attendees. Provide updates.
So it's like an ongoing dialogue.
Exactly.
Not just a one-way marketing message.
Right, and don't underestimate the power of user-generated content.
Yeah, those authentic experiences.
Exactly. It's gold.
Wow, this has been so insightful.
It has been fun talking about this.
Any final thoughts for our listeners as they gear up for their next trade show?
I think the biggest takeaway is to remember that millennials are individuals.
Right.
They're not a monolith.
Avoid those stereotypes.
Exactly. Approach them with a genuine desire to connect.
Understand their needs.
Yeah, and create experiences that resonate with them.
It's not just about making a sale.
Right, it's about building those relationships.
I love that. And remember, the world of events is constantly changing.
It is for sure.
So stay curious, stay adaptable.
Yeah.
And be willing to try new things.
Exactly, you gotta stay ahead of the curve.
Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dives into attracting millennials at trade shows.
It was a good one.
I hope you all learned some valuable insights.
Me too.
Thanks for joining us.
And we'll see you next time.
For another deep dive.
Bye, everyone.